7 of 9 Star Trek future gets hopeful update from Jeri Ryan 2 years after Picard's ending. When Star Trek Picard wrapped up in 2023, it left one of its most beloved characters standing on the bridge of a starship with the weight of history on her shoulders. 7 of 9 former Borg drone, Voyager survivor, and newly minted captain closed out the series not only with a rank she had earned through decades of hard-fought struggle, but also with a sense of narrative justice. For years, fans wondered if Star Trek would ever let 7 command. In the final moments of Picard, the answer was a resounding yes. Now, 2 years later, Jeri Ryan herself has offered a hopeful update on 7's future in the franchise, reassuring longtime Trekkies that her story is far from finished. While Paramount has remained cagey about announcing a full spin-off or continuation, Ryan's words open the door to a new era of possibilities for one of Star Trek's most enduring and complex figures. A captain born out of pain and resilience. When 7 of 9 was first introduced in Star Trek Voyager Season 4, she was the ultimate experiment, a Borg drone severed from the collective and forced to rediscover her individuality among a Starfleet crew. The role was initially controversial, with skeptics worried she was simply added as a ratings-boosting beauty in a catsuit. But Jeri Ryan shattered those expectations. Her portrayal made 7 one of the deepest and most compelling characters in the franchise. Over the years, fans watched her wrestle with humanity, vulnerability, and identity, journeys that reflected broader questions about assimilation, trauma, and recovery. By the time Voyager ended in 2001, she had earned her place not just on the ship, but in the Star Trek legacy. And yet, Starfleet never gave her a captain's chair, at least not on screen. It changed in Picard Season 3. As Jean-Luc Picard took his final bow, 7 was promoted to captain of the newly rechristened USS Enterprise G, with Raffi Musiker by her side as first officer. The moment carried symbolic weight. After decades of doubt about whether someone with 7's past, Borg implants, outsider status, and unorthodox methods could ever truly belong, Star Trek made its answer clear. She belonged on the bridge in command. Jeri Ryan's hopeful words. Fast forward to 2025, and the future of Star Trek's streaming slate looks crowded yet uncertain. Shows like Strange New Worlds and Lower Decks remain fan favorites, but Paramount has yet to greenlight a direct continuation of 7's story. The much-whispered project Star Trek Legacy, pitched by Picard showrunner Terry Matalas, was widely assumed to be the natural home for Captain 7 and her crew, but no official confirmation has ever arrived. That's why Ryan's recent comments hit so powerfully. Speaking at a convention Q&A, she didn't give away contracts or production schedules, but she did say this. Greater than, I can't say much, but I will say this, 7's story isn't over. I know fans have been waiting, and all I'll say is, have hope. I certainly do. It's a careful but telling tease. While it's not the same as Paramount unveiling a release date, Ryan's tone suggests discussions are happening behind the scenes. Actors often know far more than they're allowed to share publicly, and Ryan's optimism strongly hints that her journey as 7 hasn't reached its final chapter. Why 7's story matters more than ever. Star Trek thrives on legacy characters. From Spock's reappearances across timelines to Janeway's return in Star Trek Prodigy, the franchise continually weaves old favorites into new contexts. But 7 of 9 is different. Her story isn't just about nostalgia, it's about what Star Trek is becoming. As debates continue about inclusivity, trauma, and leadership, 7 represents a character who embodies all of those themes. She's a survivor of systemic violation, the Borg Collective, a queer woman finding love late in life. Her romance with Raffi remains groundbreaking, and a leader forged in pain who now inspires hope. For younger fans who didn't grow up with Voyager, Picard made her relevant again. And for older fans who followed her since the 1990s, seeing her finally achieve command was deeply cathartic. To abandon that thread now would feel like a betrayal not just to the character, but to the values Star Trek prides itself on. What a 7-led spin-off could look like. If Ryan's tease does point toward a continuation, what form could it take? Fans and commentators have floated multiple possibilities. 1. Star Trek Legacy. The most obvious vehicle remains Star Trek Legacy, a show focused on the next generation of heroes while honoring the past. In this scenario, Seven commands the Enterprise G, joined by Raffi, Jack Crusher, and perhaps even some new recruits. It would blend nostalgia with fresh storytelling, a formula that worked brilliantly for Picard Season 3. 2. Limited miniseries. Paramount might hesitate to fund a long-running series, but could produce a 6 to 8 episode limited event focusing on Seven's early days as captain. This format would give Ryan a chance to headline without overextending the budget. It could also serve as a test case to see how well Seven commands an audience as much as a starship. 3. Film event. Star Trek has flirted with direct-to-streaming films in recent years, and Seven could easily anchor one. Imagine a standalone movie where the Enterprise G faces a galaxy-shaking threat, something that allows Seven to prove herself on the big stage while tying into larger franchise arcs. 4. Crossovers. Even without a solo project, Seven could appear in other Trek shows. Strange New Worlds already played with crossover energy, and a 25th Century cameo would thrill fans. Alternatively, Prodigy could use her in animated form, connecting Catherine Janeway's protege to the next generation of young cadets. The stakes for Paramount. Beyond fan excitement, there's a practical reason why Seven's future matters. Paramount Plus has leaned heavily on Star Trek as its tentpole franchise, but maintaining momentum requires bold choices. Audiences today want fresh faces while still feeling connected to the larger mythology. Seven represents both. She is instantly recognizable to Trekkies but still mysterious enough for new viewers to latch onto. Unlike Picard, who closed out a legendary arc, or Kirk and Spock, whose stories have been told in multiple iterations, Seven's narrative feels unfinished. That sense of potential is marketing gold. And with Jeri Ryan's willingness to return, combined with the chemistry between her and Michelle Hurd-Raffi, Paramount already has the foundation for a compelling, inclusive, character-driven spin-off. Why Jeri Ryan still resonates. Part of the magic here is Jeri Ryan herself. Unlike some actors who distance themselves from genre roles, Ryan has embraced her place in Star Trek history. She speaks openly about how difficult the Voyager years could be, but also about how grateful she is for the fans who embrace Seven's journey. In the years since, she's grown into an actress whose performances in Picard carried immense weight. Her portrayal of Seven as a battle-worn Fenris Ranger, tough, morally gray, but still deeply yearning for belonging, was layered in a way that only someone with decades of perspective could deliver. Fans don't just want Seven back. They want Ryan back because she brings a humanity to the role that transcends Star Trek's technobabble. A future written in hope. So where does this leave us in 2025? We don't have a series order. We don't have a trailer. But we do have Jeri Ryan standing in front of fans and telling them to keep believing. And in a way, isn't that the most Star Trek message of all? That even when the future seems uncertain, hope is what carries us forward. If